Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Brad.
So my comfort video game right now is a new game that came out. It's called Marathon. The premise of the game is takes place in the far future. Humans settled the in the solar system of Tau Ceti, and then mysteriously, like all of the humans that were on Tau Ceti 4, which is the planet they settled, have disappeared, and no one knows why. And so the government is trying to like cover up what happened. But the premise of the game is you play as a runner, and what runners are is they're basically people who find themselves in like incredible debt on Soul. And so like they sign an agreement with corporations to transfer their consciousness into like cybernetic shells that get beamed to the planet to salvage like goods and materials and stuff like that. And they also like kill other runners that are also trying to salvage stuff at the same time. But even when you die, like your consciousness just gets beamed back up and you can go back down again in another disposable shell just to do work for all the corporations and shit like that. And you keep having to work. And every time you damage the shell, also like, they're like, oh, like that's adding to your debt that you have to pay off to us and things of that nature. I'm finding a lot of comfort in that game right now. I don't know why, but
this is our future. A soul,
right.
Just probably a soulless shell, if we're being honest. Just working infinitely for the man. This is not an episode of Dense Pixels, ladies and gentlemen. This is Look Forward. But no, I think that analogy is apt. Look, we live in a wild time, Brad. We live in a wild time. I want to say things have gotten better since last week, but that would be a lie. Things have gotten progressively fucking worse. What's gas by you now? What is it, $3.50?
Well, it went up. On Dense Pixels, we talked about where it was, and I was sitting at $3.45, and literally the next morning, it was up to $3.77 a gallon.
Jesus
at the gas
Christ! Wow,
me.
Holy shit!
Yeah. So and again, of the three of us on the show, me, Micah, and Carrie this week, I was the lowest.
Whoa.
Carrie, of course, the highest. Sitting not probably at this point. She's probably sitting a shade under $6 a gallon.
No shit. Are you serious?
Yeah, she was at. I think she said she was at 560 when we were on Monday. So.
Oh my god! I didn't realize it had gotten that high in California. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. Anyway,
it got so high that Gavin Newsom's social media team, who, like I said, matches the pettiness of Donald Trump, tweeted out a picture that was like new Trump presidential portrait of him in that like aisle of bullshit that he made outside the West Wing, and the picture where Donald Trump's first term was in between Obama and Biden was just like a photograph of a gas station price sign in California, essentially. So.
The statewide average in California right now is 561.
Cool.
Wow.
I'm glad I don't live in California. I will say that. Not that I drive that much anymore anyway. You find that when you work remotely, it's amazing how few miles you actually put in your car. It's actually quite phenomenal. So
I walk to my office. It's about 12 minutes. And it's about a 12-minute walk. And if I drive, it's about 4 minutes. And I drove tonight, but I drove on that sweet, sweet future electric grid, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it must be nice. God, Tesla's crossing there. Like they're actually kind of happy right now. They're just like, maybe things will turn around for us. I'm like, no, people will buy more EVs, but just not
you. Like,
not yours.
you, and you. Not you and you. Yeah. Like, no, I'm happy with my formerly Swedish, very, very much Chinese-owned Volvo at this point. So, hey, whatever works. So, yeah, there is plenty to talk about, and gas prices being one very specifically. So let's talk about the war in Iran continues, and I want to talk about two issues. One, Kharg Island, and two, the increase of bombing of energy targets, not just in Iran, but in the Gulf states surrounding Iran. All right, so let's talk about Kharg Island first off. So Kharg Island is a pretty interesting place in Iran. This is where the vast majority of it's like a 5-mile strip, right? And it's nearly all of Iran's oil exports pass through there, right? Like, so that's where they do a lot of their sort of processing and everything else, which is from my understanding. the problem here is not that there's anything wrong with Kharg Island, all of that, but the fact that it's, as the article said, like this article kind of points out, like Kharg Island is kind of like a fulcrum, right? Like if things are going to go really bad, they're going to go really bad right here. And this is like this is kind of the moment where you're going to be like, hey, I wonder if we're going to be sticking around in Iran for the next 20 years. Probably.
Yeah.
So the problem here is Kharg Island, because it is it's not just a matter of it having a lot of Iran's oil exports and everything else, right? It's that Trump came out and said, hey, I could just go and take Kharg Island or destroy it with 5 minutes notice, right? Like this is sort of his standard bluster bullshit. But if Kharg Island is taken offline, it would remove 2 million barrels of oil off of the world market per day, which is substantial.
Yeah, I wonder what that would do to oil prices in the short term.
Well, here you go. So oil right now, U.S. oil is roughly about 90. I just looked, about $92 a barrel, little bit over that. So let's say roughly $100 a barrel because it's been kind of ping ponging just around there. If Iran responds by targeting Gulf loading facilities, which we'll talk about next, which they have, and you see that could trigger what they're referring to as a cascade crisis of pulling 20 million barrels per day out of the oil market. Not good. So that could push gas or oil, U.S. oil, to $200 a barrel. You think $5.60 is bad in California now? Wait till it's almost fucking $12. Like that's Americans have never seen shit like that. Like, nope. I mean, we've never seen prices this high anyway. But you know, relatively speaking, $12 would be cool. I ain't driving no more. Like it's just like I mean,
again, yeah, like if you work in an office that's more than 5 minutes away, you're like, well, I hope you guys are offering remote work because this ain't fucking happening.
I literally cannot afford to be in the office, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean, literally more than doubling people's gas pricing, really tripling since all this kind of started. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're talking triple to almost quadrupling people's gas prices in certain parts of the country, right? Because obviously there's some parts that are like, they were just over like $2.20, $2.30, but, you know, you imagine suddenly paying $8, like you've been paying $2 or, you know, a little over $2 and you're paying $8 now. Holy shit. Like that would be insane. So Trump is planning, or the talk is that they're going to potentially send a group of Marines to take Kharg Island. Somewhere like 1,200 Marines has been the number I've seen.
Oh, 2,500 was the last number that I heard that they were talking about.
All right, so there you go. Which I know they're going to pretend like that's not boots on the ground, but that's boots on the ground, guys. Because
it quite literally is. It is Iranian soil.
Yeah, like, but you know they're gonna categorize it as like, well, it's not boots on the ground because it's not 10,000 troops or whatever. The point of boots on the ground, or that nomenclature, is that you are putting troops in a foreign country, obviously, but you're putting troops in a foreign country to hold positions. Like that's really what it is.
We're already seeing. I mean, we've seen verbal gymnastics from Republicans over the past 2 weeks, like we've never seen before. My other favorite thing that I saw today is apparently now there's debate over what the word imminent. Dan Crenshaw said imminent is subjective. Like what it means is subjective, and I'm like, there's literally imminent literally has a meaning. Like it's a word that's
words have meaning or they don't, right?
Yeah,
like This from the people who get mad when you know by using like what is a woman, right? Like they're like hyper pedantic, but then it's like imminent, like it could mean anything.
Another one was asked what he you know if he believed that what he believes is like attacks being imminent means, and he's like, well, what I think it means, I think it was Ryan Zinke, he's like, what I think it means is like if they were to develop a weapon that they could then attack us, that's imminent. I'm like, that's again, no, like that's not what that means. Not at all what it means. Not at all what it means.
Yeah. Again, things mean whatever they need it to mean for their narrative at the time, right? Like
But again,
sometimes they're eminent needs. Sometimes they're not.
Look, what I need though is I need like you're not going to get this on Fox. I think like Brian Zinke was talking to Maria Bartiromo, so she's just like, yeah, of course that makes sense to me. But like if you're on CNN, like Caitlin Collins, like when a Republican says something stupid like that, I need you to respond. Like just for my personal catharsis and the catharsis of millions of Americans out there, I need you to respond by literally saying, "What the fuck are you talking?" Like.
She won't say that, but her face always says that. Like,
of course, yeah.
She's got a solid "what the fuck are you talking about" face, which I love about her. She's great because look, in these times, like some people just can't hold it together. Like I wouldn't be able to hold it together. I'd be like, huh? Like I'm more from the like the Mehdi Hassan, Jonathan Swan sort of like world of like what. Huh? What are you talking about? Like none of what you're saying makes sense.
The Jonathan Swan face in that fucking Trump interview is still an all-timer.
Oh,
it still gets used all the time.
Yeah, you got to bring it back. Let him interview Trump.
Yeah, he went to go work for the Times and he fucking disappeared and he left Axios and they went to shit. Like what the fuck? Terrible on both ends.
Yeah, you gotta send Jonathan Swan in to interview the president on the war. Come on, man. Like, what do you mean Israel? Like, what are you talking about? No, you can't use these numbers. Like, no, I'm not talking about it. No, it was awesome. So Kharg Island is a big deal. Keep your eye on that because if the United States decides that they are going to go like fully after Kharg Island and try to take it, that is going to likely end up in a really bad situation. Also, it puts those Marines or whoever they decide to send there, it puts them in a really scary predicament because you're just kind of sitting ducks on that island. So they could just attack the shit out of that island. Like, oh, we're going to destroy our own oil? All right, but you're going to be dead. So let's see how this works for you, right? Like this is, and we're all in on this.
And again, like we'll kind of talk about when we talk about what else is going on. Iran is looking for a reason to have an excuse to push back a little bit harder than they are right now. You know what I mean? Like they're being incredibly disciplined. Considering, especially considering what has been done to them so far, where literally like they basically took out like their leader and all of their top brass essentially like in one attack, and so like you could definitely see. And I think they know, like they're smart enough to know that public sentiment is not on in the U.S. is not on Trump's side with this. No, it's not. And so they're not trying to push the issue because like I think you alluded to this last week. Like they don't want to turn this into like a galvanizing thing, for the U.S. because that would be bad for them. Like right now, there's a lot of dissension in the U.S. as far as this goes.
Yeah, no, their best move is to keep it out of the sort of like us versus them as far as like regular citizens. That would like a terrorist attack against the United States and killing a bunch of citizens would be literally the worst thing they could do.
I don't even think they would go that far. I think that they're just looking for an excuse to ratchet up tensions over there.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I agree. What I'm saying is if Iran somehow did an attack inside the United States, let's say through like a sort of a terrorist means, right? Because they don't have the weaponry to just like a straight up assault, of the United States. They just don't have that capability. But let's say they did, the way in which they would do it would be like, oh, we fucking blew up a building or some shit like that, right? Some sort of 9/11 type of thing. If they did that, Americans are just like, and it would happen, and I don't even want to just say Americans, but almost any country, people would just galvanize against that and be like, well, fuck those guys, right? Like, I think there's one building they can attack that we would kind of shrug our shoulders at if they did it. So. No. What about Palm Beach? Yeah, no, I agree with that, of course. Like, that would, people would be like, oh.
Anyway. We need to get behind the president. He destroyed my summer home. The Southern White House. Like, I'm good.
Who is we in this scenario?
Yeah.
Like, I'm confused.
I'm okay.
To quote Tonto from the Lone Ranger, what do you mean we, white man? Like, get out of here. Like, no, absolutely not. So there's that. So I think, they're likely hard avoiding any of that sort of shit. I'm sure they're probably talking to their proxies like, do not do that. Like, right. I get it. We're all very mad. Let's keep it over here, because if it goes over there, then all of America's they'll start playing country songs, and then it'll be a fucking thing. And like, it's just not worth it.
Lee Greenwood climbs out of his fucking coffin. It's like, now it's my time to shine again. Finally.
He's like, and I proudly stand. Like, God, turn it off, Lee. Turn it off. We would love it. Not us, but like as a country, America would be fucking. We love a war that we can justify killing brown people. Like, it's really a thing for us. So yeah, Kharg Island. Keep that in the back of your mind. Especially over the next week as they figure out whether or not they're going to send the Marines or SEAL Team 6 or whomever, right? And again, I don't think either one of us obviously want that, because one, I don't want to see those troops get killed because they would be literally sitting ducks. Two, I don't need shit to escalate in that manner. And three, I definitely don't need people telling me that gas prices are $12 a barrel or a gallon, rather. Like, that's fucking insane.
Well, speaking of escalation, there's one country who's not listening to any of the warning signs right now in terms of that.
That's a real fucking problem. Israel struck Iran's South Pars gas field on March 18th. South Pars is part of the world's largest natural gas reserve. Probably not going to have any rippling effects, which is shared by Iran and Qatar, by the way. It provides 80% of Iran's domestic natural gas needs. So Trump apparently wasn't pleased about this happening, much like he wasn't pleased about Israel bombing the oil fields in Iran about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, as we're entering our third week of this shenanigans. But Israel's like, oh, what can we do? How could we have known? And also, like, the U.S. was definitely along with us when we bombed this, and they knew we were going to do it. Is that true? Probably. Like, if we're being honest, it's probably is true. Did Trump remember being told that? I think no. He's just like, huh? He didn't have a fucking idea what's going on.
Well, I mean, they asked John Ratcliffe in Congress yesterday if he receives a daily intelligence briefing, which was met by a big fat.
What?
Let me try to talk my way around the fact that this definitely doesn't happen probably ever anymore.
I was listening to a show, and they were like, well, maybe Trump, because, Tulsi Gabbard and, all these other cronies of the Trump administration, since anytime they go in front of Congress, they're really performing for an audience of one. He's like, maybe this is the time that Trump gets to like these briefings, is hearing about them in these like depositions and shit. Like, which like sadly is probably somewhat true. Like, oh shit, I didn't know that. Damn,
I'm
crazy, dog.
I am surprised that you think he's watching intelligence briefings featuring Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe, two people that I'm sure he hasn't even thought about since he fucking appointed them into the positions that they're in.
Well, I mean, he's had to think about the intelligence community a little bit this week, which we'll talk about in a minute. But not in a good way. So okay, Israel attacks Iran on Wednesday, right? In their in South Pars, the Pars gas field. Again, 80% of their domestic natural gas, but a lot of liquid natural gas is involved in the following story. Iran retaliates in the Gulf. All right, so here's the breakdown. Iran retaliates and is like, oh, we're hitting our shit. All right, we're gonna hit all of your shit. So they put out, they were like, these are the targets we're coming after, and then they fucking followed up by doing it. So like they're people of their word. In Qatar, Iran hit Qatar's Ras Laffan industrial city, causing extensive damage. Ras Laffan processes all the gas for Qatar's North Dome field and produces roughly 20% of the world's liquid natural gas supply. 20% of the entire world, guys, not just Qatar. So basically they were like, the Qatar Energy's CEO says 17% of Qatar's LNG export capacity has been knocked out. They are going to basically have to do what's called a force majeure, which is French for "we ain't paying that shit, bro." So, like, basically, we have contracts with these companies, but by an act of God, we cannot we cannot be forced to keep these contracts because it's not our fault. Right, which the war's not their fault. Like infinity, a bunch of energy companies are doing this, by the way, because of what's happening, which is not good. They provide, from my understanding, they have contracts for Italy, Belgium, South Korea, and China. So all of those are likely going to be just like without liquid natural gas, or at least a large portion of the LNG that they get. UAE. Emirati defense officials said that they intercepted 13 ballistic missiles and 27 drones overnight. The Habshan gas facilities and Bab oil fields sustained damage from debris of the intercepted missiles. Kuwait's Petroleum Corporation confirmed drone attacks on its units at the Mina Al Ahmadi and Mina Abdullah refineries, among the largest in the Middle East. And Saudi Arabia's defense ministry reported drone crashes into the Samref oil refinery in the country's east. So that's not good. They're basically saying that the Brent crude, which is I'm not sure where that is, but Brent crude, it briefly touched $119 per barrel before falling back down to $108 a barrel after Netanyahu and Israel said they are going to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, is that guy even alive? Right? Isn't that the whole thing? Everyone's
we'll more on that later.
So yeah, not good. So those are all the sites for the most part as of this recording on Thursday, March 19th, that Iran is hitting. So again. Yeah. And the article an article I read was talking about this could be months to years of time to recoup from the damage that has been done. Because like when these oil refineries and shit like that get shut down or become inoperable, even without damage, if they're shut down long enough, like gears and shit seize up. Mm-hmm. So you can't just be like, oh, I just cranked it back on. Like you turn shit off long enough, it just doesn't come back on because of how it operates. Or it takes extensive amounts of work to get it back online.
And so here's the knock-on effects of all that. So because of the shock to the energy market, to the oil market specifically, the U.S. has lifted sanctions on Russian oil, which I'm sure Trump's BFF forever is very happy about, I would imagine. And in a hilarious turn of events, they're considering lifting the sanctions on the Iranian oil that is currently sitting in Iran that can't be shipped because it's being sanctioned right now. Because they are trying to put out the fire that they themselves started. The United States is. You cannot possibly make up something so stupid.
How did they expect that to work? How did they expect that to work?
I don't know. I feel you could simply just not attack them and avoided this in the first place instead of robbing Peter to pay Paul effectively in this situation.
Yeah, I saw that story and I'm just like, I'm confused. So,
but also important to note, and Jay, like we were told specifically by the Secretary of War that we must cover this favorably, that we're being too mean to Trump and how things are going. It's going really well. It's not a war, but if it was, we basically won it already. And everything's going really good. We could turn it off tomorrow if we wanted to, but we don't. And we definitely don't need anyone else in Europe's help. But also we're going to continue to ask for help from everyone in Europe. But to be clear, we don't need the help. We're fine by ourselves. Please help us. But again, we don't need your help. But also, please help us.
Right. Nothing is funnier than Trump holding that press conference. Oh, well, what's the press conference about? I'm here to tell you, we don't need you. Okay. But also, if you guys want to
but you should join the fight because this affects you too. But I want to be clear. We don't need you.
Fucking need you. Get the fuck out of here.
You should be here.
You should come over here and help us. Right. We don't fucking need you. It's a classic you can't fire me, I quit sort of situation. Or like you can't break up with me, I'm breaking up with you. Except
it is like that. Except it's not you can't fire me, I quit. It's you can't fire me, I quit. Also, please rehire me. But also I'm quitting. So get the fuck out of here. You're not firing me. But also, I would really much like to be rehired, please. If that's something that could happen.
But I don't need it. I don't need a job. I don't
need this job. Yeah, you should give me the job, but I don't need it.
I mean, I can't eat otherwise, but I don't need it. I don't need it, and I don't need any of you.
And again, like I feel like people that didn't see this will think that like we're exaggerating. You're not. Like he literally in this press conference, and he also in posts that he's put out through social, in the same post, has said clearly we don't need anyone's help, but they should be helping.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, bro, which is it? What the fuck?
Well, it's
like, what are we talking about here?
It's an excursion and a war. It's an excursion so that we can avoid the war. I mean,
right.
There's
an excursion. We're only going into Iran so we can leave Iran. That's why he's calling it an excursion.
Yeah.
We're only going in so we can get out. That's the only reason that we're
I'm letting you break up with me so that you get practice at breaking up with me, not because you're really breaking up with me, because I'm breaking up with you. Just get the fuck out of here. But like, if you could come back, that'd be great.
Again, it is. I'm not befuddled that they're doing this way. I'm befuddled that the media is not calling this what it is at every turn, at every corner.
Absolutely.
That's the part that's maddeningly frustrating to me.
Yeah, there's very few people in the media who are like, how are you still falling for this? Like, how? Like,
well, I mean, yeah, like everyone in MSNBC is just like, guys, like we have eyes and ears. Like this,
they're
like,
the only
we're not
ones.
stupid here.
Like they're the only ones. Like I listened to Maddow was on another podcast. I want to say it was one of the Crooked podcasts. I can't remember. I never listened to it before. Runaway Country, I think it is. And and I had never listened to the show before, but I like listening to interviews with her because I find you get a little bit a different type of Rachel Maddow when she's being interviewed, rarely. And she was just like, I have long not understood why the media keeps reporting on the things he says. He lies all the time, and
she never has, by the way. Like very notably, like she very rarely will air clips of him saying stuff. And to your point, like she has said straight up, like he lies as easily as he breathes. So why the fuck would I give that oxygen? Yeah, like I'll tell you what he does. Because I think that's far more useful than what he says.
Right, exactly. And I've noticed that's sort of, if you like, Hayes will play things that he says, but only from the perspective of like, you said this.
Get a load of this fucking guy.
Get a load of this guy, and here's the hypocritical shit he's done, like to prove that what he's saying doesn't make any sense. But yeah, they've all sort of taken that tactic, which I think is a smart money. So okay, we'll leave Iran there. Things are clearly escalating. Boots are soon to be very much on the ground. I don't know what we're doing there that any of it makes any sense. It doesn't seem to make any sense, but it's classic bullshit. All right, let's move into news you need. I'm gonna preface this next story by saying this. Dude, I told you. Okay. And we're going to talk about Joe Kent, and I'm going to connect the fucking dots for you as exactly where this is going. And you should be able to see it coming pretty fast.
Yes.
Joe Kent decided that he was going to go on to Twitter and let motherfuckers know he's out. He was the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. He resigned. He put out his resignation letter on X, where he basically was like, look, the war in Iran didn't need to happen. Trump was pressured by Israel and its domestic lobbying arm. He was given false information.
Yeah, I got it. I want to be hyper clear here as well, because again, a lot of a lot of liberals still continue to take conservatives who do the right thing and try to put them on a pedestal. And again, I will caution you, you don't need to do that with Joe Kent. Believe me when I tell you that he's doing the right thing, but for the absolute wrong reason.
Wrong reasons. Yep. And
because basically it's not, hey, we shouldn't get like I fundamentally disagree with war in the Middle East. It's, hey, Trump was led here by those evil Jews, and that's why I'm mad that this happened. Yeah, he's 1,000%.
So he comes out. He's like, "Look, I'm out. I'm anti-interventionist. Like, are you really though?" The answer to that is no. And again, not just to your point about taking conservatives and saying, like, from a liberal perspective, like, oh, well, they're doing the right thing or whatever. But I've also, and we talked about this a little bit last week, I've also heard liberals do that. Well, Israel has been, moving Trump, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, dude, no. Like, yes, I'm sure they are trying to influence him to get him to bite on the thing that they want to do. Make no mistake, he's also a piece of shit. Don't shoot him any bail.
He's been talking about this shit since the 80s. Literally.
Don't shoot him any bail on this. He is just as equally guilty. He is not some innocent poor boy who's being dragged by his ear into doing this. So here's where I'm going to start to draw the lines. When Joe Kent comes out and resigns, Tulsi Gabbard doesn't say anything. Like, pretty much nothing. Right? She's like, even though she is an anti-interventionist as well, especially on Iran, she kind of made her whole scree about that. She says almost nothing. Trump comes out and says, Joe Kent seems like a nice guy, but, not good on security. Curious thing to say for a guy you made director of counterterrorism, but
yeah, weird. Why did you appoint him? Yeah, odd question. Isn't it weird that whenever someone leaves Trump voluntarily, all of a sudden, like, they're the worst, they're a piece of shit. It's a good thing they're gone. I was probably going to fire them anyway. It's like, bro, you hired them every time.
Yeah, but, like, why didn't you fire him last week? Well, and also, by the way, they're starting an investigation to see if Joe Kent had been leaking information. They say that investigation started before he quit. I don't know. I don't know. Just seems rather convenient that this is starting and isn't.
I mean, it certainly could be. I doubt that he was keeping his opinions to himself over the last couple of weeks as this shit was kicking off.
But as I say that leads me to believe something else. But and I'll get there. So here's where the lines start to get drawn. Who is Joe Kent? Who does Joe Kent go to make a public statement directly after quitting? Who's the first person he goes to? Tucker Carlson. He goes and sits down and does a 2-hour interview with Tucker Carlson. And it's not just yeah, man, it's crazy working for the president. That's not what it is. This is a total, like, let me fucking spill the beans on all this other shit that's going on. He even insinuates during that interview, apparently, that Israel killed Charlie Kirk. So, again, you don't need to feel sorry for Joe Kent. I'm not saying that couldn't possibly be true, but Joe Kent is a crank. Okay, like, he is. He's a fucking crank. So you have Tucker Carlson, who is the biggest voice on being sort of anti-interventionalist, especially with Iran on the right. By far the biggest voice. Tulsi Gabbard, another big voice there. Joe Kent, another big voice there. I have said, not 6 months ago, not a year ago, many years ago, that Tucker Carlson is the fucking heir apparent to MAGA. The fact that you are seeing the anti-interventionist wing of this fucking group of psychos starting to form is not happenstance. Joe Kent leaving is not happenstance. It is time because of what's going on, but it isn't just like, oh, just fucking random. And he just randomly went to Tucker Carlson. That is not what's happening. These guys are forming a wing of this party that is going to try to present themselves as the reasonable part of the Republican Party come 2028. You mark my fucking words. Okay? I have long said that this guy, Tucker Carlson, is fast-talking, former TV guy. He's a prick. Like, He's brutal in interviews, like he is, even to Republicans. Everyone came out and was like, "Oh, look how he's schooling Ted Cruz." And I told people, and I said it on this show, he is setting himself up to be the opposite of these guys on purpose, so that when people look back and go, "Oh, well, Tucker's always been against this," maybe he's reasonable. He isn't reasonable, but he just seems more reasonable in comparison to these fucking psychos like all the Trump guys. This is what is forming. This is the crazy shit forming on the horizon. And I need liberals to pay attention, because when you don't notice who these guys are, next thing you know, you're paying attention to Vance, and Vance gets booted, and this guy comes roaring in, and you're not prepared for him. He is a fucking threat. He is a political fucking threat to what is happening in the country. I'm very serious about that. Joe Kent and Tulsi Gabbard, I guarantee you, Tulsi Gabbard leaves that administration when this shit gets bad, and suddenly it's like, oh, I'm back on my anti-interventionist shit. I'm on this classic Republican shit. By the way, who is another person who's been on that, who left MAGA with all the big fucking, pomp and circumstances, and said that Tucker Carlson should run for president, and if he ran against Trump, he could beat him? Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Mm-hmm.
These are the lines being drawn, people. They are trying to separate themselves to be the fucking next wave of this shit. Please pay attention to these guys. They are not all just, disparate fucking events. They're not. These people are very much lining themselves up behind this guy. Be very careful of him. I'm telling you. Kent is a dangerous guy. And if you listen to the shit that Tucker's been saying, he is going like pretty far deep into the anti-Israel, anti-Semitic shit. And that works really well for right-wingers right now who are kind of like, yeah, I don't like the war. Oh, but I get to blame the Jews. I love that. That feels good. That's old school shit for us. Like, be careful of these guys. Also, people on the left who are falling very deep into anti-Semitic shit too. You are going to get swept up in this shit, and before you know it, I see people going, oh, Nick Fuentes is making a lot of good points. Oh, Tucker's making a lot of good points. Be careful of these guys. They are just as bad as the neocons you remember. They might be worse, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, no. I'm when I saw this and then he immediately went to Tucker Carlson, I was like, yep, there you go. He's just grabbing people to his side. And the next time you get another anti-interventionalist, he will do another interview with them. That's his whole move. It is. He's building his crew. That's what he's doing. Don't trust that guy, dude. Like, they did a great SNL clip about him. It was fucking hilarious. I'll admit, this week. It's my favorite thing they did in a long time. But do not trust him. Do not trust him. And don't think that, he couldn't win because he's a bow tie wearing dork. Don't.
I mean, like I said, if anyone is out there saying person X couldn't win after what we've seen for the last 10 years, check yourself, man. There's a lot of people who couldn't win that have won. So.
Yeah. By the way, there were elections, primary elections, by the way. Illinois had a couple.
Yes. They did. They are interesting. Probably the most high profile example. So Kat Abou-Gazala, who we had talked about on the show before. Yeah, she's a former. She used to work for like Media Matters, and she was a contributor on Zateo for a while as well. She was running to replace. I can't remember the woman's name, but she was old as shit, and I was glad that she was basically as soon as Kat got into the race, she announced her retirement because she's like, oh no, the youngs are coming for me. Like I need to get the fuck out of here. And so she's someone. 9? Yeah, District 9. So this is someone, and she ran a very high profile, very viral online campaign. And she fell a little bit short. Daniel Biss was the guy who eventually won the nomination by like 3 points. It was a pretty heavily contested field. APAC was a kind of listed as a big contributor as to why, because the person who finished third, Lauren Fine, got a lot of APAC money and they were running a shitload of ads against Abou-Gazala in the days leading up to the primary elections.
And Biss in the beginning too. They were going
and this in the beginning too.
Yeah, they were going after Biss big time. And apparently he's a Zionist, but he's like very liberal guy. He's like, well, I don't agree with the fucking war. Like, get the fuck out of here. And
Right.
they're like, we're supposed to like you, but now we don't. So like, we're gonna run a shit ton of ads
because you're not going full throated, right?
Yeah,
so
and
like
then
that
Apple
was the
Gonzalez
whole.
started coming up, and they were like, a young liberal, get her.
Yeah,
Like,
who has no problem saying free Palestine, and who has no problem like speaking out against the
she's
Israeli
Palestinian.
government and stuff like that.
She's Palestinian.
She is Palestinian. Yes, that is correct.
That helps.
So yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure she would be ardently against that shit, knowing how she is anyway, regardless of her ancestry. But
She's biased.
Yeah.
How dare you care about your own people? What an odd idea.
But I found and there was, I don't remember what other district it was, but there was another district that like a heavily progressive candidate also was narrowly defeated in the primary as well. So I found it very interesting and just a good reminder that we haven't like as much as we feel like the worm has turned on like more centrist Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly like in the bubble that we kind of reside in, I would say that it has. Not everyone is there.
No, of course not.
And like Daniel Biss, like I heard someone describe him like yeah, like I want a cat to win. Like Daniel Biss will be a perfectly good, perhaps even like above average, like House representative for that district. Like I think that people were only knocking him in comparison to Cat. You know what I mean? But like, if you take him on his merits, like he's a perfectly cromulent, if not kind of good, like House representative in terms of like progressive values and stuff like that. Yeah. And you need people like that to help continue shifting the window leftward. And I know that we wanted or we were kind of envisioning somewhat of a left wing like Tea Party kind of scenario. Part of me is a little relieved, honestly, that doesn't seem to be coming to fruition. Because I think that any instance where you have immediate overwhelming surges of populism within like one of the political parties can be really disruptive and not always in a really good way, as we've seen with the example in the Republican Party over the last, almost 20 years now. At this point, and again, you and I talk all the time about how, as frustrating as it can be, American politics, especially, but I mean, this is true really around the world. It moves slowly and incrementally, like for a reason, because the system's not really built to withstand big swings. And I think that the people, the average person, not people listening to this podcast, but the average person is very scared of major changes happening suddenly. And it doesn't matter which way those changes are going. You know what I mean? Like people would be just as freaked out if Medicare for all were to be instituted tomorrow as they would be if like gay marriage was banned tomorrow. Like the same thing. Like I mean, you see the reaction the same way.
Right. And I hate to have to like clarify what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but it's not that we think, and I don't, and I know you because I know you. Like you're not saying that like, yes, Medicare for all would be as bad, for society as gay marriage being banned or something. No, but your point is, average Joe six pack is just like, I like to have it just like, I wake up and it's just as regular all the way till I go to bed, brother. Like they don't want a lot of changes, whether we think, because those people aren't paying attention. Like if we're being quite honest. So any changes that seem drastic, they freak out. I mean, like, the ACA, they're like, what are we gonna do? Oh my god! It's like, I'm not
gonna be able to see my doctor anymore, and they're not gonna be like it's gonna be just like slow down, Grover. Like it's gonna be okay.
Like you're fine. And then like 3 weeks later, they're like, oh, all right, like there's no fire and brimstone. That's crazy.
In many ways, like, and it sounds silly to say it, like Joe Biden is a fantastic avatar of the average Democrat.
Yeah,
like of the average Democratic voter when you take his career in total, like where Joe Biden has been where the average Democratic voter has been, they're slowly moving.
He's always, and we had talked about this when he got elected. All you have to do on any issue for Joe Biden was to get to 51%. If you could get the population of 51, Joe Biden is like, oh, this is where we're going. We're sliding left. And like, if you could slide him 51% to the right, it's like, fuck Joe, don't go. And he's like, I got to do it. 51%. Like, that's just who he was. And he was always, if the Democratic Party, wherever they were on that line of 51% on, if it's more progressive or if it was just to stay where you were, then they stay where you are. 51% is like, we need Medicare for all. And he's like, and they could get it done? He'd have got it done. Like, that's just what they did. So yeah, look, I think you're largely correct. The thing with Kat Abou-Ghazaleh was she was largely not just a new name in things, because people were like, oh, well, she's a young hip cat and like we don't know who she is. Like, she was actually new to the area too. Like, she hadn't been not that she was like a carpetbagger type of thing, but like she literally had not been in that district very long. I think maybe just a couple of years. Where Biss had been there, like grown up there, or like been there for like over 20 years or something like that. So that's a big difference too. What I would say to that is, it's less about like fuck Daniel Biss, because I don't think he is a progressive, right? Like, in his track record and his like on the issues, like he's everything that like what people want, right? Abou-Ghazaleh is more to the left, and it would have been great. I think it would have been even better if she would have won. But I'm not mad that Biss won the primary. The thing is, she's 26. You got all the time in the world, right? Run again. Like, run again. There will be, there's another election coming up in 2 years. Run again.
If she wants to. I mean, she might come out from this being like, yeah, like, she might emerge as more of a media voice on the left, like even more than she used to be. Now that she has a lot more recognition and stuff like that.
Right. And that's good. Yeah. That's a good thing, because I think she garnered like a little over 20% of the vote, like in the primary. That's
she got more than that. I think he had 29. I think she ended up around 25, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. So again, that's great. That gets more name recognition. Sometimes it's not about you being good on the policies or whatever. Sometimes it's just about timing. Like, that can just happen. And so I don't want to count her out. I saw people like getting pissed off about that she lost. I understand being disappointed that she lost. But like, don't take that out on Daniel Biss. He won the race. Like, he did. Right? He didn't run like brutal attack ads against her or whatever. AIPAC was there for that. What the fuck did he need to do that for? More importantly, AIPAC lost that race because they didn't want Biss in there either, right?
Well, not to hear them tell it. They were
I saw their
the fact that they knocked her out. Even though their preferred candidate did not finish the distant third. So.
Right, exactly. So it's cool. And look, Biss also had, and this is how I know Biss is a good to great candidate. He also had Warren support him, right? She came out and endorsed him, and I saw people were like,
"Well." Let's not go out of the way to praise Elizabeth Warren this week specifically.
Oh, why? Because of that legislation she did?
Oh no! Apparently you didn't see another endorsement that she made.
Oh no, I didn't.
This week. No, she's back in Grand Platinum in the main race.
Oh, I get it. You want a progressive, but like, we didn't have to pick the guy with a Nazi tattoo. Like, we just did not have to do that. Look, if the guy gets in and hopefully he sticks to what he says, great. But that will forever bother me. That like,
again, as I've said, we have been burned before by a sheep by a wolf in progressive sheep clothing. So.
Yeah. So I hope not. I hope we, God forbid he gets hit in the head with a brick or something. Shout out to John Fetterman.
We're about to talk about him in a second anyway. So
motherfucker, God damn it. Yep. So yeah, I don't know, and I just don't. I'm very leery about that. Like, if he wins, and he has a decent chance of winning, if he wins that race, he better come out guns fucking blazing, as like on the progressive side. I won't hear none of that. Oh, maybe. Nah, Oyster Man, get up there, and you better be all you can be. Prove us wrong that you are who you say you are. Right? Like, do what you said. So I get it. I get why she probably backed him. I don't agree with it, but I get it. Because was he going for Susan Collins' seat? right?
Mm-hmm.
I get it. And like, if I live there, I might reluctantly like hold my nose, like not in a primary. Like I definitely wouldn't have in a primary, but in a general election, I'd be like, fuck, all right. But we'll see. We'll see if you're true to who you say you are. And look, I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope, or more importantly, I hope he proves himself correct. Like that's more of what I want. So, but
like I said, my worry, your concern is my concern, because now he's all of a sudden done a 180 on the whole being very remorseful and apologetic about the whole fucking Nazi tattoo thing. So,
oh boy, if we fucking put that guy in and he's just like, it wasn't a real cover up. Ah, there it is. I love Donald Trump. I'd be like, oh no.
Yeah, or like I said, even if he doesn't say, "Oh, I love Donald Trump," if he just becomes like Fetterman too, like,
I would not be.
I will remember this, and I hope the neo-progs do as well. So.
Yeah, and look, I hope we're wrong. I do. I just I want people to then go from now on, be like, all right, we should probably be leery about the whole Nazi tattoo thing. Like, yeah, you probably should be. Just saying, probably not a great idea. All right, next up. This story is all you. This is all you.
Speaking of not great ideas,
Trump's DHS pick, Mark Wayne Mullen, advances by 1 vote after Senator John Fetterman votes yes. Brad, you watched this. I
am so mad right now. Like, and I'll tell you why I'm mad, because as I told you and Andy,
why don't you just stand your butt up? You stand your butt up. You want to go right now, Brad?
Sean O'Brien was in the gallery for the hearing. Like,
he was right behind him. I saw that. I was like, are they going to fight? Like, grab him.
I wish they would.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
So, John Fetterman has ruined this for me in the worst way possible. Because I said to you and Andy, I was like, regardless of, like we're guaranteed a hilarious outcome. Because Rand Paul fucking hates this guy. Yeah. And Rand Paul also happens to be the chair of the Senate, like, Homeland Security committee, who is having the hearing for this here, and Rand Paul told Mark Wayne Mullen to his face, "Hey, bro, like when my neighbor beat the shit out of me and broke 6 of my ribs and punctured one of my lungs, you said that you thought that was pretty cool. What the fuck? like what the hell?" And so I was really excited, because one of two things was going to happen. Either his nomination was going to get tanked by the fact that he talked shit on a member of his own party, which is going to keep him from getting confirmed, or we would get to see Rand Paul look like a fucking cuck and vote for this guy anyway, despite the fact that he talked shit on Rand Paul for getting his fucking shit kicked in. And then John Fetterman has to fucking come along and fuck everything up. Because Rand Paul said, "Fuck you," and John Fetterman's like, "No, I got you, bro. Like, we're definitely gonna make you the Homeland Security chair guy," which is insane considering some of the things that Mark Wayne said during this fucking hearing.
He suggested, or he didn't even suggest. That's putting it too mildly. He said that dueling is still on the books.
Yeah, because Rand Paul was like, "Hey, I've got concerns about a guy who thinks that violence is a reasonable way to solve things, being that setting the example for the Department of Homeland Security, considering ICE is out here fucking wilding on American citizens." And Mark Wayne Mullen was like, "Hey, dueling's still a thing." And Rand Paul's like, "It hasn't been a thing for 170 years, bro. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Like, that's
you
not
dumb
legal.
asshole." We literally had a discussion about Charles fucking Sumner in the Senate in the year of our Lord 2026.
That was the best. He was like, he was caned, and the other his friends were holding guns on the other senators, and that's why they didn't
even know about that part.
I didn't know that either.
I wasn't even aware that was a thing either. That's insane.
Yeah, like,
that's
shout out to Rand Paul for putting out a little history lesson on the beating of Charles Sumner. The fucking fact that this dope is even up here having a conversation, even in committee, is ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous. I mean, never forget that this is the same guy who said such great things as to the Secretary of Education, what was we ranked in education? What was we ranked? Okay. He also
apparently took a number of foreign trips that he didn't disclose to the committee that they grilled him on. And he was like, can't talk about it. It's classified. And they're just like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, he's also made statements like he was in war before. And they're like, when were you in the military? And he's like, classified.
You've never been in the military.
He's like, classified, brother.
Apparently he went to Afghanistan during as we were pulling troops out during the Biden administration. And again, didn't disclose it, and he just can't talk about it. Don't know shot, and it's just how the fuck do you guys think this is okay? Just because he's the guy that's in front of you doesn't mean that he is the be all end all. You could be like, no, this guy is unqualified. Let's get somebody else in here
pick a different
who is more qualified, right?
Yeah.
Just because he's Trump's boy does not mean that you need to fucking do it. And again, Fetterman's statement was hey, I called on Trump to fire Kristi Noem, and he did it. And I approached the confirmation with an open mind. And Mark Wayne Mullen is my friend. And so we should there's no Republican too, where they're just yeah, he's a good guy and he has a ranch. And I'm like, how does that qualify him to be Department of we're not talking about who do you want to fucking watch your dog for? And we're talking about who should lead the Department of Homeland Security.
He's got a lot of land, brother. He's got a lot of land.
That doesn't even need to fucking exist anymore. I mean, but not putting that aside, by the way. But again, we're literally going to have a person in the United States cabinet who is in the line of succession now for the presidency, who has two first names smashed together as one name. I can't begin to tell you how stupid that feels.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Jim Bob Duggar or whatever the fuck this guy's name is as this DHS secretary. Look, it comes down to a very simple thing. Are we hiring smart people to do this job, or are we hiring sycophants to do the job? The answer seems to be, under the Trump administration, we're just hiring sycophants. In that case, Mark Wayne Mullen is perfectly qualified for this job because he is going to fuck it up. He is not a particularly intelligent person. I believe he fought in MMA for a while. Clearly, he has taken numerous shots to the top of his fucking head.
Hey, I wonder if he's going to participate in the fucking rah-rah America UFC fucking competition outside of the White House. Wouldn't that be cool?
Maybe he could fight Dana White. That's the
championship. They'd give him a fucking tomato can to go up against if he were to do that, I'm sure.
I mean, Dana White's a tomato can as far as I'm concerned. It fits. Yeah, I'm just I'm not impressed by Mark Wayne Mullen's lack of abilities. He is embarrassingly bad as a choice to head DHS. I don't know who I would pick, given if I had my druthers.
Well, I mean,
but it's certainly.
I mean, no one that we would pick would be considered. So
no, I would.
And again, my pick would be to have a vote in Congress to abolish the Department of Homeland Security, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah. I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Here's an idea. Why don't we just get rid of all of you? Just get the fuck out.
Now, I mean, I will say that as stupid as he is, I think he will probably be smart enough to not be the performative Secretary of Homeland Security like Kristi Noem was. I think that he will probably stay in the background quite a bit more than she did, because I think I would hope that he's smart enough to see that being front and center constantly all the time did not do her any favors. In fact, probably hastened her departure, I would say. I am also very excited for him that he will have a whole wardrobe of costumes left behind by her that he can dress himself in if he would like to do performative press conferences and things like that. A variety of cowboy hats and jackets and like designer like jackets and things of that nature. Like that's very cool. I'm sure that'll be very fun for him. Perhaps he can wear like a bolo tie with some of his outfits. I'm sure he has several. He's from Oklahoma, so one assumes that they're standard issue down there.
Yeah, one would assume. The best part of this, I don't know if you saw this meme, which was, Chrissy Nome. I mean, one of the reasons that she spent all that money on those like DHS ads was because she wants to run for president. Like, I mean, that's like obvious, right?
Yeah, we talked about that.
So she spent $220 million on those ads and putting herself very front and center. Like, here's me riding a horse. I'm a real cowgirl. It's like, all right, get him, Christy. But there was a meme going around, which were blockbuster films that cost less than the Christy Nome DHS ad campaign. So, and these are adjusted for inflation, by the way.
I would hope so. So. That would be a little unfair to hold it against that standard.
The Matrix adjusted for inflation, $124 million. The Lord of the Rings, it only cost $64 million, or $63 million back in 1999.
Shocking. Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, very specifically, adjusted for inflation, would be $166 million.
That's the biggest one.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one. That
was the big battle. Right.
Yeah. And by the way, that only had a $94 million budget back in 2003, which is insane. Top Gun Maverick, with adjusted for inflation, $189 million. Barbie, $154 million. Gladiator, classic, $195 million. Frozen, $209 million. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, The Big Boy, still only $180 million. Jurassic World, $204 million. The Hunger Games, the original, $111. Oppenheimer, $106. Jaws, $55 million. Iron Man, $210. The Lion King, $99. Deadpool, $80 million. The Batman, $209 million. So there you go. So adjusted for inflation, Iron Man just coming under the radar or just coming under the cost for Chrissy Nome's DHS ad campaign, which is amazing. So shout out to
and arguably Iron Man, a much better version of American propaganda than the Chrissy Nome ad campaign.
That's how Dad did it. That's how America does it. So next up, this is something. Donald Trump was meeting with the Japanese Prime Minister, Sane Takachi. Sorry if I'm butchering that. I probably am. And
let me check this out. Hang on a second here. No, I think you do. Takaichi is how you pronounce the last name. Yeah.
All right, well, all right. Close, but no cigar. In an apparent awkward moment at the Oval Office on Thursday, Donald Trump made an interesting reference to Japan. We have video.
Yeah, we'll call it, I think we could call this a faux pas of sorts, perhaps.
A little bit. So here we go. Here's Donald in his classic Illuminati stance. Here you go.
Why didn't you tell US allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. When we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? He's asking me, no, you believe in surprise, I think much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did. And because of that surprise, we knocked out, the first 2 days, we probably knocked out 50% of what and much more than we anticipated doing. So if I go and tell everybody about it, there's no longer a surprise, right?
Couple of things there.
Audio listeners, you should really seek out the clip because her face when he says that. Oh man.
Like oh God, why did I have to come here? I just wanted to stay home. I should have just faked like I was sick. That's one part of it, is her face, which is pretty telling. The other part of it is, what a weird way to refer to your allies. That, well, we couldn't tell Japan because, like, yeah, we didn't want that information to get out. Oh, so you assuming that they would leak the information like Japan would? Okay, feels odd. Two, you don't relitigate the time where we were enemies with your ally, you dumb fuck.
Yeah, generally not a good idea. Also, you know, the part that felt undercovered by this, and I guess it doesn't matter because most of the people that were in that, I mean, anyone that survived that attack probably not with us anymore, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Kind of insulting to the memory of the U.S. Service people that died in the Pearl Harbor attack. Just kind of cavalierly be the president and make light of that attack fucking happening.
Yeah, I mean, you could also sort of say, well, that's, you know, obviously, like, making light of Pearl Harbor and shit like that is just completely unacceptable. Again, I don't understand why the military votes for this fucking idiot. But then, like, sort of reminding her of, like, Japanese, like, that part of Japan's history.
Yeah, but like a time in their history that is, you know, really thought of as like a embarrassing time, like not a shameful time. Like, I think that they felt that they were, you know, very proud of them standing up for their country, but, like, you know, like it was certainly an embarrassing moment for them, and especially how things kind of fucking ended.
Right,
in that whole
like
situation.
that's the thing.
So,
like, why are you reminding them? Like, hey, remember that time we dropped those 2 nuclear weapons on you? Yeah, we remember. It kind of fucking reset our whole society. It really was kind of bad. Like, it was hilarious, right? Like,
hey, we didn't tell you we were going to do it.
Yeah, surprise! Enola Gay. like it just goes to show you just
maybe we should be relieved that he didn't refer to that surprise, perhaps.
Yeah, you know what? To be honest, sometimes you go, give him the little bit of credit he deserves, I suppose. But, you know, the other part of this is, at least from my perspective, and looking at her face, which was just like, Jesus Christ, I cannot believe this guy said that, is all the world leaders know this guy's a fucking idiot. They all know he's an idiot. And so they're all just counting their days until this guy is gone, so they can be like, all right, now let's rebuild the world after the shit. Will there be one left? Who knows? Will he have pissed off enough people to, you know, destroy alliances forever? I have no idea. I don't know. I have a tendency to believe that depending on who comes after him, not that things will go back to normal, because I think that's impossible, but I think the world community is going to be like, oh, thank God. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, well, I think they're going to be way more excited to just get past him than anything. Will they still try to I'm not so sure they're going to take as hard of a stance as people think they will.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that I think the sigh of relief happened in 2021. Mm-hmm. I think that there might be a little bit more lingering resentment this time around, because they're going to look at us and be like, we can't believe you guys fucking did this shit again. After seeing what happened the first time,
yeah, you
were like, no, we want 2.0, where the brakes are really off, because he knows that he doesn't need to worry about winning another election again, so he can just go fucking hog wild on this shit, doing whatever the fuck he wants to do, and y'all were cool with that,
right?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
This I feel like if you've ever played like a Fallout game,
yeah,
like it'll be like the world will remember that.
Remember that. Yeah, I think they'll be. I don't think they'll be as hardline as people think they will be. I think there are going to be some lines that are drawn that we're just not going to get back, right? Like, but I just don't think. Like, let's say you get a Democrat in who is like a reasonable person, who's like starts putting people. Let's say, right, dream of a dream.
Let me give you, for example.
Yeah.
You think Canada cozies right back up to us to the level that they were as far as from a
no.
as for like trading and stuff like that?
No, I don't think so. No, but I don't think it's going to be like, we're never selling Canadian, we're not selling American products anymore. Like, I don't think that kind of hardline shit exists now, but I think that stuff kind of eases. They're like, all right, like, come on, guys, like, we like bourbon too. Like, what the fuck? Nobody wants to drink Evan Williams forever. This is just crap. Like, so I think those kind of things will ease, but I do think those lines will be drawn of like we normally cozy up to you 100%. We may cozy up to you to like 75% because we need to be able to keep our distance.
I think the days. I think the days of putting all your eggs in the America basket are probably long gone at this point. With every country.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But I don't think like the hard lines that you're seeing drawn now between Europe and the United States or Canada and the United States and stuff like that. I don't think those lines are going to stay quite that hard once he's gone. Depends on what happens by the time he leaves.
What if Vance is president in 2020? Like, what if he?
But that's what I was saying. If it depends on who comes after him. If it's Vance, then the lines stay. If it is Tucker Carlson, the lines stay. If it's and I think people would. I think people are going to get snookered by him if he wins. God forbid. I think those lines soften a little bit. And then he does like terrible shit to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll just fucking draw those lines back on." But I think if it's a Democrat, and let's say it's a Democrat of like milquetoast down the middle, let's look forward and not back type of shit, like a Gavin Newsom type, then I think the lines they soften a bit. I think the lines soften quite a lot if you get somebody in there who's like, "Oh, motherfuckers are going to prison for this shit." Then I think they'd be like, "Oh, okay, maybe America might be on its way back." Then I think those lines, I think instead of cozying up 75%, you might even get up to 90%, right? They're like, "All right, we'll see what happens in 8 years." Like, you know what I mean? But if a Democrat comes in and is like, "Oh no, we're not fucking around. Like, these people committed crimes. We have, we got the Epstein files now, all these people," and you start throwing people in jail, and then like you start getting really serious about shit, then I think Europe and everywhere is like, "Oh, okay, maybe this was like, it was weird that they went back for 4 years. Like, maybe they fucking learned their lesson." Like, yeah, I think it all depends on what the actions of that next president is. If it's someone like Vance, you might as well no longer make those lines in sand. You might as well etch them into fucking stone because they're not coming back. Because he is probably not going to be a tariff guy if he become president, but he's going to let the fucking those fucking nerd dorks in Silicon Valley just do whatever the fuck they want, which is also equally disastrous in my opinion. Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.